First ever time when I fought in January, the earliest I've ever fought. It's going to ruin my Christmas dinner and my birthday because I'm 31 like 3 weeks before it. But it's all going to be worth it when I lift that real title above my head and Paddy the Baddy is a world champion. And 2026 is going to be the biggest year of my life. I am coming for that interim title. Then I'll be making it the undisputed title when I come and beat Ilia Topuria up and take the undisputed title. And then little posh boy, if he manages to fight in that time, because he likes sitting out and saying he's got a sore back, if little posh boy fights in that time and keeps his ranking, I'll punch his head in as well.
All right, let's get into it. So, obviously you just saw Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim title. Earlier, Topuria posted, I'm dealing with some personal problems, so I'm not gonna fight the first quarter. So the winner of Gaethje versus Paddy will be the interim title, and then they will face
an interim champion basically means the #1 contender. But if Paddy can pull it off, unbelievable. That'll be 4 champs, 2 interims and 2 legit, well 3 legit now with Tom being promoted from the UK that have become champions. And for Justin Gaethje, this is the final go. This is the final crack of the whip. The man's had 2 title fights in the past, Charles Oliveira to Khabib Nurmagomedov, and now he gets to go up against Paddy Pimblett. Now talking about the matchup, of course it is an easier fight for Justin than what it is against Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the greatest of all time. Islam Makhachev, the current pound for pound, and according to many people, a man that is surpassing Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? So in that regard, it is an easier matchup. Will Paddy be able to take him down? Will he dance around the octagon? Yes, he will. Will he try and replicate the game plan of Max Holloway? Of course he will. Who wouldn't try and do that? You aren't going to stand and go toe-to-toe with Justin Gaethje because the man does have knockout power. But
Right after Dana White officially announced the fight, everything kicked into high gear. Paddy Pimblett didn't hesitate for a second. He jumped straight into camp for Justin Gaethje. No delays, no excuses, just pure focus. Day after day, he's been grinding, tightening up his striking, blending in grappling work, and preparing for what could be the toughest test of his career. Fans are already buzzing, eager to see how Paddy rises to the moment and what kind of performance he'll deliver against one of the most dangerous contenders in the division.
I think that that's a good chance for Paddy to win, but with real risks about his defensive striking along the way. Yeah. And really, obviously, as we all could understand, a last hurrah, certainly, for Justin Gaethje.
Dana White kept things straightforward when discussing Paddy and Justin. He explained that with Ilia unable to compete in the first quarter due to personal matters, the UFC needed someone to step into that slot. That's how Paddy and Justin ended up fighting for the interim title. Dana made it clear that whoever wins will eventually meet Ilia down the line. So this isn't just a matchup for hype. This fight determines who earns the next major title opportunity.
All right, let's get into it. So, obviously you just saw Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim title. Earlier, Topuria posted, I'm dealing with some personal problems, so I'm not gonna fight the first quarter. So the winner of Gaethje versus Paddy will be the interim title, and then they will face Topuria.
When Michael Bisping broke down the matchup between Paddy and Justin, the first thing he highlighted was the danger Paddy is stepping into. Bisping noted that while Justin may be getting older, he still carries serious knockout power and fights at an intense, relentless pace. He emphasized Justin's heavy punches, punishing leg kicks, nonstop forward pressure, and the overall difficulty any lightweight faces when dealing with him. Bisping reminded fans that Justin only looked off in the Holloway fight because he got caught clean, something that doesn't reflect his usual performance. He stressed that Justin is the type of fighter who marches forward, throws with bad intentions, and forces his opponents into brutal, uncomfortable battles.
Down the line, because there's certainly a storyline built in, but this is a very, very tough competitive matchup. Now, Justin Gaethje is no spring chicken. I think he's 36 years old, but you know what you're going to get with Justin Gaethje. Yes, of course, against Max Holloway at UFC 300, he got knocked out. He got embarrassed. He got face planted. I'll tell you what, it was a shocking scene, okay? But that's not normally what happens with Justin Gaethje. He is one of the most exciting fighters. They do call him the human highlight reel for for a reason. He's got great wrestling, but the boxing, the striking, the leg kicks, the punch power that he has, I'm telling you, this man...
Bisping then shifted to why Paddy absolutely has a real shot in this matchup. He said Paddy looked like a completely upgraded fighter in the Chandler bout, proving he can handle pressure and rise in high-stakes moments. According to Bisping, Paddy's movement has improved, his striking is sharper, and his confidence is at an all-time high. He added that Paddy won't just stand in front of Justin. Instead, he expects Paddy to stay mobile, use his speed, mix and level changes, and force Justin to constantly track him down. Bisping also highlighted that Paddy is already in excellent condition, which gives him a major edge in a fight with this kind of pace. He argued that people write Paddy off too quickly, and Justin can't rely solely on his power, because Paddy has shown he can adapt when the situation demands it.
Is no joke, and neither is Paddy Pimblett, right? We saw last time against Michael Chandler, he is the real deal. He absolutely smoked him. He's undefeated in the UFC. He put a beating on Michael Chandler. And let's remember, Chandler went toe-to-toe with Gaethje, gave Dustin Poirier a good run, knocked out Dan Hooker. So it's not like he's a bum. Yes, he hasn't been winning fights. We all know that. But Paddy made it look different. He beat the living hell out of him. Simple as that. And I knew he had something coming up because last week when I saw him in Qatar, the man was playing paddle, right? Like a paddle bro. He had his shirt off in the sun. He was glistening. He had the six-pack. He looked great. We all call him Paddy the Fatty, right? Well, he isn't fat right now. The man looked to be in the best shape of his life. And he didn't even have a fight. And
Bisping added that everyone understands an interim champion is essentially the top contender. And if Paddy pulls this off, it would be a massive moment for UK MMA. For Justin, though, this feels like his final major opportunity after already competing in 2 title fights. Bisping noted that this matchup is stylistically easier for Justin compared to facing someone like Khabib or Islam, but that doesn't mean Paddy will be a stationary target. He expects Paddy to stay mobile, switch things up, and do everything he can to stay away from Justin's power.
an interim champion basically means the number 1 contender. But if Paddy can pull it off, unbelievable. That'll be 4 champs, 2 interims and 2 legit, well 3 legit now with Tom being promoted from the UK that have become champions. And for Justin Gaethje, this is the final go. This is the final crack of the whip. The man's had 2 title fights in the past, Charles Oliveira to Khabib Nurmagomedov, and now he gets to go up against Paddy Pimblett. Now, talking about the matchup, of course, it is an easier fight for Justin than what it is against Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the greatest of all time. Islam Makhachev, the current pound for pound, and according to many people, a man that is surpassing Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? So in that regard, it is an easier matchup. Will Paddy be able to take him down? Will he dance around the octagon? Yes, he will. Will he try and replicate the game plan of Max Holloway? Of course he will. Who wouldn't try and do that? You aren't going to stand and go toe-to-toe with Justin Gaethje because the man does have knockout power. But underestimate...
Thomas broke down the matchup by calling it a classic striker versus grappler scenario. He explained that Justin is the sharper, heavier puncher, and Paddy's tendency to keep his chin high makes him vulnerable to getting clipped. According to Luke, Justin doesn't need many openings. 1 clean shot could put Paddy in serious trouble very quickly. But he also pointed out an area where Paddy has a real advantage: back control. Luke noted that if Paddy can slip behind Justin's elbows or secure a strong body lock, he can drag the fight to the ground and take Justin's back. And once Paddy gets there, Luke said he's extremely difficult to shake off.
How do you think that exactly goes? Gaethje on the feet and Paddy on the ground. So let's talk about the fight itself. It's a great question. There's just no doubt in my mind, a bit of striker versus grappler. Paddy can strike for sure, but he leaves his chin in the air. It's a real tough test for Paddy, but the problem is we all know Gaethje has just, of course, he's got good defensive wrestling, but as you saw with Khabib, if you just force him to his hands, or there's different ways for him to get to his back, once you do that, it's a problem. He seems like a fish out of water at this point. So Paddy, who is a back specialist, both in obtaining it and then maintaining position, that's very advantageous. At the same time, he's got a little bit of that going on, and I think a guy like Gaethje can still send his chin into orbit. So very much a striker versus grappler, but it just feels like Paddy is big for the weight class, and all he really has to do is clinch and then get behind the elbows, and then that's...
Luke noted that the betting lines could end up fairly competitive. He pointed out that Paddy is a naturally big lightweight, and with just one solid clinch, he has the ability to pull Justin into his world on the ground. But at the same time, Justin only needs a single clean connection to flip the momentum instantly. Luke added that this matchup represents two very different storylines. For Justin, it feels like one last major push in his career, while for Paddy, it's the moment to prove he belongs with the division's best. In Luke's eyes, it's a genuine proving ground for both fighters.
All he has to do is level change, not get it, and then just sort of come up and get behind one of the elbows. You're in on the body lock, and now it's a problem, because then he can just force him. He can either Soto hook, trip him out, force him to his hands. So I would imagine Paddy might be, it's going to be close, I think, in the odds. I don't want to say what the odds would be, because that's really not my forte in any kind of way. But I would imagine that the odds are probably going to be kind of close. I would think that that's a good chance for Paddy to win, but with real risks about his defensive striking along the way. Yeah. And really, obviously, as we all could understand, a last hurrah, certainly, for Justin Gaethje.
Den Thomas gave his take on the matchup and said he believes Justin Gaethje holds a clear advantage over Paddy Pimblett. In his view, Justin remains incredibly dangerous and becomes even harder to deal with once he starts applying pressure. While Paddy is clever and unpredictable inside the cage, Thomas warned that Justin's raw power and aggression eventually find their mark. He added that Paddy may have trouble steering clear of Justin's big shots, especially since taking Gaethje down won't be easy. Over a 5-round fight, Thomas expects Justin's constant pressure and violent pace to force Paddy into mistakes, making the matchup an uphill battle for him.
Oh, I'm leaning towards Gaethje for sure.
Yeah?
I think absolutely. I mean, just, Gaethje he's still a banger, man. And it's some like Paddy's crafty. Paddy's really crafty. And he's shown that he can withstand certain things and he can hang around with certain guys. But I just think, when Justin Gaethje gets rolling downhill and the amount of violence and he's able to catch up to people, like you can try to be crafty as you possibly can with Justin Gaethje, but eventually he's going to catch up to you and you got to.
Thomas also pointed out that while Paddy has proven he can compete with solid opponents, he still lacks the high-level experience and polished skill set needed to keep up with someone like Justin when the fight becomes intense. He explained that Justin's ability to dictate the pace and overwhelm fighters with sheer aggression will likely create major problems for Paddy. Even though Justin is getting older, Thomas believes he's still highly effective and more than capable of handling Paddy without too much difficulty. At the same time, he acknowledged that this could be Paddy's most realistic opportunity to get close to a UFC title. Justin is in the later chapter of his career and is looking to add one more belt to his legacy, which makes the matchup unique. According to Thomas, the timing of this fight gives Paddy a genuine opening, even if Justin remains the clear favorite.
There you go. This is an amazing fight. This is a banger matchup. And I do think Pimblett will win. I think Pimblett will probably sub him as well. I think he'll mix it up. Takedowns, striking, something Fiziev did, but doesn't have the jiu-jitsu to keep a hold of Gaethje with. And Fiziev kept Gaethje down in like an inverted triangle position for like the majority of round one. I know Gaethje's somewhat decent at scrambling, but it turns out Chandler has no ability to control in any way whatsoever without throwing himself off the top of someone and ending up on bottom or messing it up completely and using a ton of energy for no success. So I think Pimblett's got that back-taking ability. Pimblett's got that control, that stick to you, that get you in a submission position type jiu-jitsu, which is obviously any type of jiu-jitsu. But you know what I mean? He's got that level that I think is going to be able to keep Gaethje down with his back taken for a while in this fight. So I'm going to go with Paddy Pimblett here. I'm going to say Pimblett wins this fight by a TKO to ground and pound in the second round or a submission win in the second round. And we'll see what happens. Because after that, he's going to be fighting Ilia Topuria.